Though the Mughal Empire reached its territorial zenith under Aurangzeb, its foundation was far more fragile than it appeared to the watching world. Following his death in 1707, the empire began to disintegrate, undergoing a rapid political fragmentation. This decline was a complex interplay of systemic flaws, economic exhaustion, external shocks, and disastrously weak leadership. By the time the British formally extinguished the dynasty in 1857, the empire had already spent decades dying from 1,000 self-inflicted wounds. The seeds of destruction were sown even while the empire was at its largest. Although territorial expansion peaked under Aurangzeb, administrative integration became increasingly difficult. His relentless 25-year military campaign in the south, known as the Deccan Ulcer, drained the imperial treasury, ruined the military machinery, and left the northern territories completely neglected. Furthermore, Aurangzeb's religious orthodoxy fractured internal unity. By reimposing the jizya tax, demolishing several prominent temples, and executing the Sikh guru Tegh Bahadur, he alienated crucial allies like the Rajputs, Sikhs, and Marathas, turning them into fierce enemies. The successors of Aurangzeb, collectively known as the later Mughals, were tragically incapable of managing such a vast domain. Following a bitter war of succession, Bahadur Shah I ascended the throne. He attempted a more tolerant policy, releasing Shivaji's grandson Shahu to pacify the Marathas, though he stopped short of fully granting them the Chauth and Sardeshmukhi revenue rights. Despite briefly reconciling with the Sikhs, Bahadur Shah I is popularly referred to as Shah-e-Bekhabar, or the Heedless King, an attribution that highlights the drifting nature of the imperial court. Following his reign, the era of puppet rulers began with Jahandar Shah, propped up by the powerful noble Zulfikar Khan. While Jahandar Shah abolished the hated jizya tax to win Hindu support, his administration unleashed a different terror. To improve imperial finances, the disastrous system of ijara, or revenue farming, became much more widespread, drastically increasing the oppression of the peasantry. Jahandar Shah's reign ended violently when he was defeated and killed by his nephew, Farrukhsiyar. Farrukhsiyar was placed on the throne by the infamous kingmakers, the Sayyid brothers. His reign is most noted for issuing the Farman of 1717, an edict often described as the Magna Carta of the East India Company in India, which granted them custom-free trade rights in Bengal. This decision significantly strengthened the company's position and later contributed to its political rise. Farrukhsiyar's own fate was grim. He was blinded and murdered by the Sayyid brothers, marking the first time a Mughal emperor was deposed and murdered by his nobles. The court devolved into a treacherous battleground for ambitious elites. The nobility fractured into violently hostile factions: the Turani faction of Central Asian Sunnis, the Irani faction of Persian Shias, and the Hindustani faction of Indian Muslims, Afghans, and Hindu converts. Instead of defending the crumbling borders, these groups paralyzed the administration by fighting bitterly for the Wazirat and the most revenue-rich provinces. Against this backdrop, Muhammad Shah, often known as Rangila, ascended the throne. Though he conspired with Nizam-ul-Mulk to successfully assassinate the Sayyid brothers in 1720, he squandered what historians regard as the last major opportunity for imperial recovery through his deep indulgence in luxury. As the center weakened under Rangila, capable provincial governors realized they no longer needed Delhi. Regional aspirations soared as semi-autonomous successor states emerged. Murshid Quli Khan founded Bengal, effectively stopping the remittance of revenue to Delhi, seriously weakening imperial finances. In Awadh, Saadat Khan created a buffer state that ultimately drained vital military resources away from the center. Finally, the departure of the capable vizier Nizam-ul-Mulk to found Hyderabad signaled the definitive end of any hopes for a Mughal revival. Beneath the political chaos, the economic foundation of the empire was collapsing. As highlighted by modern historiography, there was a severe Jagirdari crisis where nobles were paid through land revenue assignments. By the late 17th century, the number of nobles had swelled drastically, but fertile crown lands were deeply limited. To maintain their wealth, nobles imposed increasingly heavy revenue demands on the peasantry, utterly ruining the agricultural base. This sparked an agrarian crisis, leading directly to massive peasant rebellions among the Jats, Satnamis, and Sikhs. The relentless expansion of the Ijara system further destroyed the peasants, and a ruined peasantry meant a ruined imperial treasury. Simultaneously, the once fearsome Mughal military machine became technologically stagnant. The famed Mansabdari system became deeply corrupt, plagued by false musters of troops, creating a crisis within the Mughal nobility highlighted by historians like M. Athar Ali. Furthermore, the Mughals completely failed to adapt to changing global tides, never developing a strong blue water navy comparable to European maritime powers. This fatal oversight left their expansive coasts entirely vulnerable to the Portuguese, French, and British. With the military hollowing out, the porous northwest frontier was disastrously neglected, inviting foreign invasions. In 1739, the Persian ruler Nadir Shah swept into India and defeated Muhammad Shah at the Battle of Karnal within a matter of hours. Exposing the utter hollowness of the Mughal military, Nadir Shah mercilessly massacred Delhi and carried away enormous wealth, including the legendary Peacock Throne and the Kohinoor Diamond. The nightmare continued with Ahmad Shah Abdali, whose decisive victory over the Marathas in the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761 weakened both the Marathas and the Afghan position, indirectly benefiting the East India Company. The period from the death of Aurangzeb to the Third Battle of Panipat saw economic bankruptcy and extreme chaos, paving the way for foreign domination. During the reign of Alamgir II, the Battle of Plassey was fought in 1757, marking the official beginning of company political supremacy in Bengal. The once powerful Mughal emperors were gradually reduced to symbolic rulers with little real authority. Shah Alam II attempted to fight back alongside Mir Qasim and Shuja-ud-Dawla at the Battle of Buxar in 1764, but upon his defeat, he was forced to sign the Treaty of Allahabad. By granting the Diwani revenue rights to the East India Company, Shah Alam II suffered the ultimate humiliation of becoming the first Mughal emperor dependent on the British for a pension. The final chapters of the dynasty are a melancholic epilogue. Akbar II is remembered merely for bestowing the title of Raja on Ram Mohan Roy. The final emperor, Bahadur Shah II, known as Zafar, was a poet and the nominal leader of the 1857 revolt. His defeat saw him exiled to Rangoon in Myanmar by the victorious British, unceremoniously ending the centuries-old Mughal dynasty. The Mughal Empire did not fall to a single enemy. It imploded under the immense weight of its own internal contradictions, over-centralization, and unsustainable agrarian economy. The selfish ambitions of a factional nobility and military stagnation culminated in a catastrophic structural failure. The resulting power vacuum was simply too vast for regional powers like the Marathas or Mysore to fill entirely, providing an unprecedented opportunity for the British East India Company to transform from a trading corporation into the undisputed master of the subcontinent. Visit our website to access our complete collection of animated video lectures, each accompanied by comprehensive PDF notes featuring colorful mind maps, illustrations, concise explanations, and UPSC-style MCQs for effective learning and quick revision. The link is in the description.